In the year 2047, 2 decades had transpired since the emergence of extraordinary phenomena on Earth, the Hell Gates, insidious portals that had manifested in every corner of the planet. These enigmatic rifts had ushered in a new era, one marked by a cataclysmic transformation that culminated in the annihilation of humanity. Yet, amidst the devastation, a solitary figure had emerged as the last bastion of hope, a warrior who hunted demons with unwavering determination. A demon, cognizant of this lone survivor's reputation, approached him with startling familiarity. The demon claimed to know the survivor as the fabled human who exclusively targeted high-ranking demons. The survivor, however, regarded this revelation with a measure of skepticism, considering it mere verbosity. He assured the demon that the truth would be unveiled in due course. Guiding the demon into a secluded chamber, the survivor unveiled a ghastly tableau, a multitude of demon heads meticulously arranged before him. With humanity's demise, the survivor had embarked on a relentless quest, one that entailed the beheading of precisely 666,666 high-class demons. The objective was to manipulate the very fabric of time, to revert to a period before the calamity had unfolded. The demons, gathered in awe, voiced their incredulity and sought to comprehend the survivor's motives. Could he genuinely alter the course of the future by traversing time? In response, the survivor revealed his heartfelt desire to reunite with his daughter. The demon regarded this as a trivial aspiration, provoking the survivor to rebuff his cynicism. He reminded the demon that his enduring 25 years in the desolate world were fueled by this singular purpose. Yet the demons shifted their focus to the elusive phases that had birthed the Hell Gates and devised the legendary quest, the very quest the survivor had undertaken. A sudden notification disrupted the conversation, declaring that the requirements for the legendary quest had been fulfilled for regression. Unfazed, the survivor resolved to confront anyone who dared obstruct his path. With the completion of the quest, marked by 666,666 demon heads, a radiant light enveloped everything, propelling him back in time, several weeks before the impending cataclysm. Awakening from the temporal shift, the survivor hastened toward his daughter's room, anxiously seeking her presence. In a harrowing flashback, he recalled cradling her on the precipice of a building during the calamity. His incapacitated arm rendering him helpless, he prayed fervently, beseeching divine intervention to save his daughter. In a cruel twist of fate, a demon appeared beneath the building, ruthlessly ending her life before his eyes. Back in his daughter's room, he clasped her hand, overwhelmed by joy at her survival. As she stirred from slumber, he departed swiftly, unable to contain his tears, weeping silently outside her door. The survivor recognized the fleeting nature of this happiness. In a matter of days, the Hell Gates would reopen, irrevocably altering the world. Recounting the past 25 years spent in self-imposed isolation, he questioned his ability to endure the impending hellish reality while protecting his beloved daughter. However, he sternly admonished himself against such introspection, acknowledging that he must persevere, even if it meant sacrificing his life to safeguard her. A mysterious notification interrupted his contemplation, informing him of newfound magical abilities. He had gained not only magic power, but also spirit magic and possessed level 1 spirit eyes. He marveled at the resurgence of his power, accompanied by the apparition of a spirit, the ethereal form of Suwa, his wife and his daughter's mother. Her spectral presence enveloped him, and he wondered whether these gifts were a consequence of the altered timeline or an inherent trait of a regressor. With a mere 3 days remaining until October 11th, the ominous date of the Hell Gates reopening, only a select few were privy to this impending calamity. The 8 prophets, chosen by the enigmatic 8 phases, and the 8 martial stars, heralded as humanity's saviors, were among those who understood the impending doom. Reflecting on the arduous memories of the past 25 years, the survivor contemplated the newfound possibilities that lay before him. He could now attain the accomplishments and rewards that had eluded him for so long, achievements comparable to those of the 8 martial stars and the 8 prophets. Stepping out into the world on October 8, 2022, a mere 3 days prior to the cataclysm, he descended into a hidden basement, the genesis of his new journey. Entering a familiar shop, he noticed a discrepancy. There was an unexpected presence. An elderly man sat before him, an incongruity in a world that should have been devoid of human life. The old man inquired about his intentions, prompting the survivor to express his desire for supplies. Abruptly, the old man underwent a nightmarish transformation, revealing his true identity as a demon. In a swift and brutal motion, he seized the survivor, forcing him against the wall. Intrigued by the human's presence, inquired about his purpose. Our protagonist calmly explained that he had come in preparation for the prophet's trial, having heard of its location. The demon expressed surprise at the knowledge that someone had been instructed to visit this place. Stranger still, the demon had information that the selection process was still ongoing from the higher echelons. Undeterred, our protagonist affirmed that he had arrived precisely for this reason: to stake a claim before the selection process concluded, determined to seize the coveted spots of the chosen ones. The demon, however, suddenly recalled our protagonist and burst into laughter, identifying him as the regressor who had vanquished a staggering 666,666 high-class demons. He found it astonishing that our protagonist had assumed they would remain oblivious to his actions, given that demons were privy to a wealth of knowledge, including his manipulation of the timeline. With a smug grin, the demon chastised our protagonist's audacity, implying that his regression had granted him a sense of invincibility. He cautioned our protagonist against meddling in the complex game orchestrated by the upper phases, emphasizing that such actions would only draw their ire. Determined to make a point, our protagonist commanded the demon to move his hand, and utilizing his newfound magical prowess, attempted to sever the demon's hand with a spectral sword. However, his body proved unprepared for the demanding feat, and he lacked the necessary arcane runes, limiting his capabilities. The demon, now in agony, let out a piercing scream. Our protagonist maintained his composure, asserting that the demon's knowledge was severely lacking. He reminded the demon that the phases themselves had sanctioned the events that led to his regression, a fact that rendered any consequences irrelevant. Incensed, the demon launched an assault, charging at our protagonist with fervor. However, the human effortlessly thwarted the attack, delivering a devastating blow to the demon's visage. Mocking the demon's seemingly ornamental head, our protagonist questioned if he truly comprehended the significance of being a regressor. He asserted that he had already fulfilled the demanding quest, having slain the required 666,666 high-class demons. This turn of events rattled the demon, a member of the Yaksha race who drew sustenance from the fear of other beings. He was confounded by the dread he felt in the presence of a mere human. Fearing a diminishing of his own essence, the demon inexplicably shrank in stature, much to our protagonist's satisfaction. Seizing the moment, our protagonist revealed the two primary reasons behind his arrival. First, he informed the demon that, per a rule established before the Hell Gate's opening, the representative race of the Yaksha would be prohibited from harming any humans. Second, he disclosed that he sought to rendezvous with a Yaksha named Ju Ryu in pursuit of a particular bundle. The demon struggled to comprehend the sudden revelation. He asked how our protagonist knew his real name, to which the human responded with a cryptic reference to their great connection. Infuriated, the demon inquired if our protagonist considered him a servant. The exchange grew tense, with our protagonist delivering an ominous glare that left the demon quaking in fear. Rising to the occasion, the demon produced a sizable pouch. Our protagonist's attention, however, was drawn to a notification, which unveiled a shop designed for the prophets. This shop offered a variety of tools such as swords and shields, though the prices were exorbitant. Realizing that he collected only one head per monster, our protagonist despaired at the impossibility of making a purchase. The demon, sensing the human's frustration, remarked that our protagonist lacked a reliable method for amassing demon heads. As a result, he would be unable to acquire anything substantial. Nevertheless, our protagonist's keen eye discerned an item of interest and demanded that the demon hand it over. Infuriated, the demon protested, questioning why he should gift it to our protagonist. The human pointed to a notification that indicated the item would be bestowed as a gift upon establishing friendliness with the Yaksha race. The demon balked, citing the grievous injuries he had sustained, including the insertion of swords into his arm and a slap across the face. Our protagonist, undaunted, withdrew the weapons and cryptically noted that he had now pulled the knife out for the demon. However, the demon, once again vexed, takes out money and tells him that it's 20 million won, and if he does well, he will give him 80 million more. Throwing the money, the demon scoffed at its value, given the imminent opening of the Hell Gates in just 3 days. Unfazed, our protagonist assured the demon that, in the coming days, those pieces of paper would become invaluable. He hinted at a pitch-black night 2 years hence, suggesting that the money would play a pivotal role in saving his life. The demon, utterly perplexed, struggled to grasp the concept, as paper money held little significance in his realm. Frustrated, the demon accused our protagonist of deception. In response, our protagonist delivered a powerful declaration. He explained that, although the demon might not grasp the value of these notes, he possessed the foresight to discern their worth. He maintained that in the human world, money held undeniable importance, even during the Hell Gate's looming chaos. The demon, agitated, questioned the authenticity of these claims. Our protagonist emphasized that he could offer no proof, but the choice to believe his words lay with the demon. He underscored the importance of making the correct decision, for in 2 years, the demon would regret not heeding his counsel. In the end, it was the demon's prerogative. Incensed and feeling belittled, the demon compared our protagonist to the Naga people, earning a sharp retort. Our protagonist admitted to having heard of them, further astonishing the demon. Infuriated, the demon demanded to know our protagonist's next course of action, cursing as he stooped to pick up the discarded money. Seizing the opportunity, our protagonist utilized the letter he had received as a gift from the demon. In a show of extraordinary power, he created a pathway leading to his destination, telling the demon that he intended to meet with the phases. With a mix of shock and fear, the demon watched as our protagonist departed. As they ventured deeper into the enigmatic portal, the demon chose to accompany our protagonist, much to the latter's curiosity. Inquisitive, our protagonist asked the demon about his motivations, questioning why he was shadowing his every move. The demon, however, responded with a hint of disdain, urging our protagonist to mind his own business. He explained that his presence was driven by a morbid fascination with the form of death our protagonist would ultimately encounter. Taking the opportunity to converse, the demon inquired about the source of our protagonist's knowledge regarding the prophet's test and the enigmatic rune language. He surmised that our protagonist's familiarity was derived from memories of his past life, and he speculated that our protagonist aimed to usurp the prophet's privilege at this very moment. The demon then raised a moral question, asking whether our protagonist felt any remorse for effectively stealing the prophet's rightful place. In response, our protagonist shared a story with the demon, recounting the tale of ghost whale Choik-Wasu, an unparalleled entity among the 8 martial stars. This fearsome figure had command over numerous undead monsters and appeared almost immortal. Yet despite his formidable abilities, Choik-Wasu was ultimately deemed a menace, a psychopath that needed to be eliminated. To harness the power of his undead minions, Choik-Wasu required an abundance of corpses, leading him to experiment on humans to produce high-quality corpses. Our protagonist divulged that he, too, had been subjected to these gruesome experiments, a revelation that rendered him devoid of any remorse for his actions. Undeterred, the demon offered a word of caution. He reminded our protagonist that despite his grandeur in his past life, he was now an ordinary human and should tread carefully. The demon suggested that our protagonist may not fully understand whose domain he had entered, prompting our protagonist to affirm that he knew all too well. He had entered the domain of the one who had tormented him for 18 long years. A voice, seemingly disapproving of their intrusion, suddenly rang out, declaring our protagonist an unwelcome visitor. A notification materialized, announcing their entry into the lair of the Tamer of the 7 Snakes. The voice then directed its inquiry to the demon, Jiu-Ryu, asking why he had brought a human into this sacred space, as only the prophet was permitted entry. It sternly informed our protagonist that he did not bear the mantle of the prophet that had been selected. Quickly, the demon defended our protagonist, describing him as the regressor who had eliminated 666,666 high-class demons. The voice, however, responded with a sense of condescension, asserting that our protagonist had disrupted their grand scheme. It categorically denied our protagonist the title of prophet, deeming him unworthy. Our protagonist pushed back, suggesting that the voice personally evaluate his qualifications, especially when compared to the dubious choice of Choik-Wasu. Yet in the midst of this exchange, our protagonist was struck by a sudden memory, the haunting scene of his daughter's loss. The voice, seemingly amused by the recollection, burst into laughter, revealing that the regressor responsible for altering the timeline had been one of its loyal followers. Unperturbed, our protagonist took a decisive step forward, launching an attack to drive his point home. He severed a crimson wall, and Jiu-Ryu, the demon, looked on in astonishment at the display of our protagonist's newfound power. Seizing the moment, our protagonist declared that he was not the voice's follower and demanded to know the source of his extraordinary abilities. The voice, known as the Tamer of the 7 Snakes, approached, intrigued by the display of power. Our protagonist pondered the origin of this newfound strength, realizing that even the high beings didn't possess omniscience. He postulated that perhaps this power was a reward for his unwavering devotion throughout his arduous journey in the dystopian world. The tamer of the seven snakes, acknowledging the change in our protagonist's circumstances, expressed a deep appreciation for his progress. He had previously considered the attainment of the title of the Observer of the Sun and Moon as a trivial achievement. Now, faced with our protagonist's unexpected transformation, he was both impressed and touched by the progress. Nonetheless, the tamer reiterated that he had already chosen a prophet, and his decisions were unassailable. Our protagonist, undaunted, challenged this notion, citing the requirements for regression. He was the sole survivor, as every other chosen prophet had perished. He assured the tamer that he wasn't here to beg for the position of the prophet, but to offer him a chance. Should the tamer refuse to select him, our protagonist pledged to bring victory to other high beings. The tamer would then witness the first death at his hand, the death of the prophet he had chosen. The demon, Jiu-Ryu, interjected, urging our protagonist to temper his tone. The tamer, angered by our protagonist's audacity, threatened to end his life on the spot, warning of the dire consequences he would face by becoming the common enemy of the high beings. Our protagonist, however, remained resolute, calmly explaining that he knew the high beings could not perceive him as an enemy, in accordance with the rules they had established. While he had initially been ignorant when the hell gates first opened, our protagonist had thrived and survived through sheer determination. Now he was confident in his ability to persist and succeed once more. The tamer, intrigued by our protagonist's resolve, appreciated his unwavering spirit. With a wave of his hand, the tamer summoned Choi Kwasu, the mad scientist who had terrorized our protagonist in his previous life. In a swift and definitive gesture, the tamer executed Choi Kwasu and selected our protagonist as his prophet. A brilliant blue magic circle materialized beneath our protagonist, and a notification informed him that he had become the prophet of the seven snakes, now vested with the prophet's privilege, which included access to the wrapping of the snake storage. In the narrative, the tamer led our protagonist to the fabled snake treasure house. Within its confines, the tamer informed the protagonist that they could unlock the copper door and take any item they desired from within. This privilege was granted to the prophets, who held the responsibility of guiding the people during the carnival that was about to commence. However, the protagonist, in a moment of unexpected audacity, remarked to the tamer that the trials they were experiencing were akin to a carnival for them. The tamer, with a wry smile, corrected the protagonist by stating that it wasn't a carnival for them, it was Jor. This enigmatic term left the protagonist intrigued and contemplating the potential opportunities presented by this new phase. As the duo ventured beyond the copper door, the protagonist, whose name was Namyung, noticed that Jiu-Ryu, their loyal companion, appeared physically shaken by what lay before them. The duo exchanged words in a seemingly casual manner, as if the extraordinary sights and experiences were a regular occurrence. However, Namyung's actions hinted at a deeper motivation. A while later, they emerged from the room, and Namyung summoned Jiu-Ryu to accompany him, signaling their departure. Curiosity getting the better of him, Jiu-Ryu asked Namyung about the events within the room. Namyung revealed that he had acquired a legendary item, Monarch Lyric's headpiece. This headpiece was a relic, belonging to the most arrogant king in history. It bestowed great strength upon the wearer, but it came at a cost, primarily tied to the wearer's past sins. Jiu-Ryu, puzzled by Namyung's choice, wondered aloud about the kind of equipment he would select. Namyung's choice, the headpiece, was entirely unsuitable for a living person, hinting at a deeper plan. Jiu-Ryu complimented Namyung's talents, prompting Namyung to inquire about Jiu-Ryu's own belongings. Jiu-Ryu revealed a surprising stash of 100,000 heads acquired from the Master of Snakes. This exchange, while generous, hinted at a significant price paid for these heads. Namyung clarified that the heads came from Jor. While Jor's gifts were valuable, they came with a price, even for seemingly insignificant items. Namyung's revelations left Jiu-Ryu in shock. Namyung explained that he hadn't paid Jor anything, but rather he had paid. It was a precautionary measure, as Jor was concerned that Namyung, a regressor, would become a target for other prophets. Thus, Jor had entrusted him with these heads as well as a quest, akin to the feat of regressing, involving the slaughter of 666,666 demons. This quest was known as a Red Wax Quest, a legendary grade challenge, with a hidden quest called Seven Serpents Incarnation, also now part of Namyung's arsenal. Perplexed, Jiu-Ryu struggled to comprehend the significance of Namyung's acquisitions. Namyung, sensing Jiu-Ryu's distraction, requested him to hand over his pouch, snapping him back to attention. Namgung instructed Ju-ryu to obtain an unstable sword, at least of rare grade, using the heads he possessed. Ju-ryu presented 2 rare swords, the Widow's Eye sword and the Executioner's beheading blade. Namgung, uninterested in their backstories, chose the Widow's Eye sword and opted to purchase a bag with the remaining heads. Ju-ryu willingly provided the bag, and Namgung was surprised by the ease with which Ju-ryu parted with it. Ju-ryu explained that disposing of objects with deep histories was a headache for him, but he believed that their friendship was worth more than a mere bag. Namgung inquired about the time, and Ju-ryu informed him that it was 3 o'clock. Satisfied with the time, Namgung commended Ju-ryu for his work and assured him that he wouldn't be late. Ju-ryu, still curious about Namgung's intentions, wondered what he was planning to do next. Namgung's purchase of the sword suggested a hidden agenda, but Ju-ryu couldn't fathom his friend's true motives. Smiling cryptically, Namgung revealed that he needed to retrieve his daughter. Ju-ryu, taken aback, struggled to process this unexpected revelation. Namgung bid him farewell, leaving Ju-ryu in puzzlement. Over the next 2 days, in anticipation of the opening of the Hell Gate, Namgung intended to spend time with his daughter. They would go shopping together and engage in playful activities, seeking a moment of normalcy amidst the chaos that had consumed their lives. As the day approached, Namgung's daughter excitedly mentioned the significance of the day her father had spoken about. As she tied her shoes, Namgung asked her if she believed what he told her. She tells him yes, of course, because she is always on her side, and they move out. Then the scene shifted to a cemetery where people were strolling. Here, Namgung encountered his friend Manhwa. After exchanging pleasantries, Namgung inquired about Soman, his daughter, and learned that she was sleeping in the car due to the long journey from Seoul. Manhwa expressed regret for not having visited them, but Namgung revealed that he had let Soman sleep deliberately, as the day ahead would be anything but pleasant to witness. Manhwa, assuming Namgung was referring to his own appearance, tried to lighten the mood by making a joke. However, the sudden change in the sky's color and the panic among the people abruptly ended their banter. Manhwa urged Namgung to seek safety, but he was horrified. Namgung, with an air of grim determination, announced his intent to eliminate each and every one of them. In a sudden and terrifying turn of events, hordes of goblins emerged from mysterious portals, throwing the once calm scene into chaos. Panic gripped the crowd as people fled for their lives, desperately seeking refuge from the menacing goblin invasion. Amidst this turmoil, Namyung turned to Namgung, his voice laced with urgency, and advised that they needed to flee immediately. Namgung, however, cast a resolute glance back at Namyung, and with a steely determination, he uttered words that would echo in Namyung's memory. "Let's survive together this time." Without further ado, Namyung executed a remarkable feat, dispatching the goblins in a single, formidable strike. Namyung was left in awe, his surprise evident as he questioned Namgung about his intentions. Namgung cryptically urged Namyung to carry on, and in response, Namyung shifted into a soldier's mode, resolutely sprinting away while reassuring Namgung that he would return. Meanwhile, Namgung continued to engage the marauding goblins, rescuing terrified individuals caught in the crossfire. As he fought valiantly, he couldn't help but cast his eyes skyward, where the portals resembled monstrous, watchful eyes, ominously spewing forth an unending horde of goblins. The fleeing masses were bewildered, struggling to comprehend the cataclysmic event unfolding before them. Namgung's mind drifted back to a conversation he had with the tamer when receiving the heads. The tamer had offered a chilling piece of advice, suggesting that he was the arbiter of the lives of the deceased. To save someone in the moment, he would have to weigh the lives of others. The tamer, with a sinister smile, had encouraged Namgung to be selfish, a path that the protege of the 7 serpents was destined to walk. The tamer emphasized that, no matter his actions, Namgung would forever be labeled a hypocrite. Back in the present, Namgung recognized the necessity for strength, even if it meant accepting the label of a hypocrite in the future. With determination, he unsheathed his sword and spoke to it as though it possessed a sentient awareness. He invoked the power within himself, power that surpassed all others in this realm. A crimson aura enveloped him as he called upon the spirits of their homeland. At that moment, souls began to rise from the cemetery, converging into a massive red mana circle around Namgung. A notification appeared, indicating that Level 2 soul detection had been activated. Friendly spirits resonated with him, and Level 2 soul eyes was triggered, allowing the spirits of the memorial to rise within him. He had gained the ability to summon souls at Level 2, and the number of available souls exceeded his initial capability. Namgung summoned 3 souls, each donning a distinctive red and black mask. The narrative then shifted to Myung, who found himself in the company of Somin. He marveled at the relentless tide of monsters and wondered how Namgung was managing the ongoing chaos. His daughter, Somin, slept peacefully amidst the chaos, undisturbed. As more monsters poured from the portals, one of them threatened to attack Myung and Somin. However, at the 11th hour, the souls summoned by Namgung intervened, saving them from impending danger. Myung, astounded by the appearance of these enigmatic figures, questioned Namgung about their identity and the unfolding events. Namgung promised to explain everything but first handed Myung a sword. He emphasized the urgency of the situation, explaining that numerous goblins still threaten the lives of the innocent. Myung, wrestling with his own inner conflict, recalled a promise to his master not to wield a sword again. Nonetheless, the gravity of the situation compelled him to make a difficult decision. With a resolute cry, Myung took up the sword and, invoking the name Hell's Punisher, leaped into action. His blank expression belied the courage and determination he displayed as he engaged the encroaching goblins. Amid the chaos, a young boy lay on the road, separated from his mother. A bystander tried to intervene, but another person blocked her path. Just as a goblin prepared to strike, Myung sprang into action, defending the helpless and sending the child back to his mother. He continued to battle the goblins with unwavering resolve, a beacon of hope in a sea of despair. Namgung recognized that his powers could not be openly revealed. He entrusted the role of leading the people to Myung, who had previously been the leader of the armed guardians clan, known as Choi Myung-hun of the Tai San Sword. Namgung would guide him from the shadows, offering support and direction. Myung valiantly took on the goblins one by one, each strike a testament to his unwavering commitment to protecting the innocent. As Myung finally found a moment's respite, a sense of foreboding washed over him. He was startled to witness a looming figure on the horizon. Namgung, too, sensed that the time had come, and he readied himself for what lay ahead, a confrontation with the formidable goblin warrior.